Hey guys, I'm Jonathan and welcome aboard this new series that we've started called Daring Faith. This is the second lesson of our series. Through Daring Faith, we will be learning how we can be people of faith. God is pleased to see people of faith like you and me. God goes yes when he sees people of faith. So let's dive into it. Let's get into the story for today. How many of you have heard about a young boy named David? Raise your right hand with me. I can see some hands. Nice, that's good to know. The Bible tells us about David from the time he was a young boy like some of you till the time he was a grown man like me. Well, do you know? Let me ask you a question here. David has written one of the books in the Bible. Do you know which one it is? It is... Hang on. I'll let you go to your small groups to discuss that. So David is going to be our Daring Faith champion for today. So the story goes like this. There was a giant named Goliath. He was big and mean and very fierce. Everybody was afraid of him. Apart from hurting people and insulting them and being mean to them, he taunted God. He taunted and insulted God and his people and his armies. Let me tell you what happened next. So Goliath told the Israelite army that you need to send one man who can fight me in battle and win against me. Now, because he was so big and because he was so mean, everybody was scared of fighting him. Nobody dared to go even close to him because he was big. He was very, very strong, trust me on that. And he was fierce and his voice was deep. But there was a little shepherd boy named David. David went to King Saul and said, I will fight Goliath because I am not afraid of him at all. At that point, you should have been there to see what King Saul said to David. He said, little boy, are you crazy? There is no chance that you're going to win against that guy who is Goliath, because he is so big and he's so mean. But then David told King Saul how several times he protected his sheep against very dangerous wild animals. Not only that, he also told him how he used his shepherd staff and his slingshot. Whoa! Alright, come back. I knew the slingshot and the staff just really excited you. So now listen up very carefully. Did David trust on his shepherd staff and his slingshot to win against Goliath? Not just that, David was convinced that God is with him, and with God on his side, he could easily defeat Goliath. So here's what happened next. King Saul let David go to fight against Goliath. But in his heart, King Saul was afraid and probably even thinking that David is going to lose. So he called David and said, hey David, take this armor of mine. It will protect you. David was not used to heavy armor. Now, do you think that David depended on that armor for his protection against Goliath? Well, this is a question that you can discuss with your teacher and with your friends in your small group today. So David refused to wear the armor. He knew in his heart that all he needed was God's protection, his slingshot, and 5 smooth stones to defeat Goliath. Now remember what I told you last time. When you have faith, it shows. Faith always shows. Let's continue with the story. Now David met Goliath in battle face to face. When Goliath saw this little boy David, he laughed. He laughed. And he started calling all sorts of bad names, not just to David, but all of the Israelites. Oh, but do you know, David was not afraid of that. David looked at Goliath and said, hey Goliath, God will hand you over to me and I will strike you down. It is God who will conquer and I will win. And so David put 1 smooth stone in his slingshot and he aimed and he released it and the stone went and hit Goliath somewhere here, right on his forehead, and the big giant fell. God gave David the victory. Woohoo! And so the giant Goliath was defeated by a young boy, David. The story of David and Goliath is a very, very popular story from the Bible. It talks about this big, mean giant who was scary and people were afraid. And then it talks about this young boy, David, who trusted that God would take care of his people. And with God on his side, he was able to get victory over an impossible situation. Can you relate to this situation today? Is there something standing in front of you like a giant? Is it a bully? Is it a problem? Is it fear? Is it sickness? There can be so many things that stand in front of us today and stand at us and laugh at us like a giant. But we know that when God is on our side, He fights our battles for us and He gives us the victory. With God on our side, there is nothing that can overcome us. We can have daring faith just like David did, and we can let God fight for us. The third thing that you will be doing in your small group today is talk about David's faith. Where did it come from? How was he able to show it? I'm sure today in your group discussions, you'll have a great time. You'll have a blast talking about our daring faith champion, David. I am sure that you are going to have a great discussion in your groups today. So, along with your teacher and your friends, let's start talking about this daring faith champion, David. And just like David, all of us can say this today. I trust that God will take care of me. Well, folks, that's all for today's video with our daring faith champion, David. But hang on, I'm going to see you next time in the next lesson with the next daring faith champion. See you then. Bye-bye.